Hey folks, Pastor Jason here. I want to just take some time to thank you as a congregation for praying for Mitchell. It's been a long 3 weeks out of the middle of nowhere. He gets this clot from, I believe it was working out, and he got this artery pinched between his rib and his neck muscle, and it's just been this long process, something we weren't even expecting. And so I want to just kind of update you on Mitchell, but I want to take you back a year and share with you kind of where we are as far as our church sermon series, and just to kind of I want us to see God's sovereignty in it all. So last year we charted out the path of where we want the church to go in an area of content of our preaching, and what books we wanted to go through and what subjects we wanted to preach about, and parenting was one of those. And I said, how about August 2021 we go ahead and we walk through a parenting series, and we have 3 of the guys in our church preach on it and give them experience, and that you guys can hear someone other than me from the pulpit. But only God knew that we would be going through this in August, that I probably wouldn't be as effective in the pulpit because of what we are going through as a family with Mitchell at the hospital, having to visit him and taking him there and staying with him at night. It just is a lot of stress physically, emotionally, and mentally. But God knew. And God had us plan this out. We didn't know what he had planned for us, but he knew exactly what we needed and when we needed it. And so I wanted to share that story with you of God's faithfulness and his sovereignty. This is why we're going through the parenting series, and this is why I am not in the pulpit for the last 3 weeks, is because God knew the Parmers would be going through this. And so I wanted to share that with you. Just an awesome thought when you look back and see what God was doing in our hearts as we prepared sermon preparation for this year. And so just got great news. Mitchell's doing well, probably going to come out of ICU. For you that don't know, Mitchell had a clot probably from lifting weights. It was pinched between his rib and his neck muscle. Had to take care of the blood clot. Had 3 surgeries through his arm on that, and then they had to remove his first rib so that wouldn't get pinched again. Through that surgery, his lung was punctured, and so this is what the past week has been, is dealing with the bleeding through the lung, and we were just frustrated. Judy and I were just frustrated. Cooper's a great hospital where he's getting the care that he needs, and doctors were not communicating with us, and so we were like, what's going on? What's happening? What's going on? We wanted to share with you guys, and at some point, every time you guys would come to us, like, how's Mitchell? We were like, we don't know. We don't know what's going on. And Judy had a conversation with one of the doctors who was very rude to her, and I'll be honest with you, it really made me upset. And so Monday morning, he was supposed to have his other evasive surgery to go into the lung, and it just was more recuperation. And we were like, oh man, what is going on? And I was going to Cooper Hospital with saddles blazing. I was upset, I was frustrated, I was really in the flesh. And I said, Jude, let me go to Cooper, I'll spend the time with Mitchell, and it's go time. I was going to walk into Cooper, it's like, who wants a piece of me? I was ready. I was frustrated, like many of us get at times when we have a lot of stress on us. So I was driving my way up 55, and I got on 76, and Judy calls me. And I'm thinking through my mind what I'm going to say and how I'm going to say it and how well I'm going to say it and be stern. Just fleshly thoughts going through my mind. And Judy calls and says, Jason, you're not going to believe it. Now, when you hear that on the phone on the way up to the hospital, you're like, oh man, what's going on now? Well, she goes, that doctor called me, was super nice, and says, Mrs. Parmer, we don't have to do this surgery. We looked at the x-ray this morning, and the clot is gone. There is no excess blood that we need to take out. It just is gone. I don't know how to explain it to you. And so Judy said to the doctor, well, we've been praying to God that God would take care of that. And the doctor says, well, I'm glad you did, because this was a God thing. God got rid of that blood. It's a God thing. But one thing that I learned, that God wants to be able to take care of things himself. He doesn't need fleshly Jason Parmer to go up and say the things I need to say and try to fix things and make things work. What God taught me was God saying, Jason, I got this. Let me be glorified through this. You take your flesh and your selfishness and your arrogance, and just stay over there. Let me be glorified. And what a beautiful testimony of God's grace and God putting me where I need to be to shut me up and for his glory to be revealed and seen. And so as of today, Mitchell's doing great because of your prayers. God has showed us some things that I need to change in my life and my prayer life, and through these struggles and trials, God reveals himself to us, and he shows us where we need to be and what we shouldn't be doing. And I think the one thing that I really learned, that through this, despite what we want to say and how our flesh comes out, that we need to be a testimony. And that through this all, Judy and myself, we needed to be a testimony. They knew I was a pastor, and if I would have went in there, guns a-blazing, that would not have been a great testimony. And God had to show me that. And so that's one thing I learned, that people are watching us. We preach it a lot. We talk to our young people about it. But when you're going through it, sometimes you got to be shown. That's what God's shown me. Hey, let me take care of this. Jason, remember, I'm God. This is what I do. And we have to listen. So continue to pray. I just wanted to share those stories with you, because it just reveals how great God is, that he is sovereign, and that he takes care of things when he wants to in his perfect timing. And so I hope that can be an encouragement to you this week. God bless. Looking forward to seeing you this coming Sunday. Have a great week.